Hey, badass business babes. It was great to see so many of you today, August 22nd, over at Kat's office so that we could have our live mastermind session. I think it was a really valuable time. I loved hearing about all the successes that you folks are realizing, but there were a few of you who couldn't make it. And so instead of doing, we were going to try and live stream all of these masterminds. But since I needed the computer today to go through a presentation, did not live stream today. Instead, I am taking some time to go through the presentation that I gave today. And if you missed it, you can see this presentation now. And if you were there and you want to just kind of go through this again so that you can let this information sink in a little bit deeper, I encourage you to do that. So glad to be posting this here today and talking with all of you. So we pretty much covered the fact that we're all very overwhelmed, right? There's so many different media out there through which we can try and get our message out, through which we can market, advertise, all of these things. And it's just overwhelming. And what happens is, we'll try a strategy, we'll throw it against the wall, we see if it sticks, and if it doesn't, we move on to the next one. And it's not very effective because you're not building a system. A system is what's going to make things work for you. And very specific strategies, streamlined, simple strategies that you are consistent with will pay big dividends. We were talking about websites, and the question that I had for the group was, how much money does your website generate? And pretty much everybody agreed that the answer is zero. Our websites aren't designed to generate money. Our websites are designed to provide information, to establish credibility, to house resources, all kinds of things. And it's not that they're unimportant, but I think sometimes we spend so much time trying to get that website just right. We want to have a certain look. We got to get the design down, and we think that it's going to be so very critical to our business, but it actually isn't very critical to our revenue. And remember, we have to stay focused on the 20% of activities that are generating 80% of our money. The reason why these websites are not effective is because they're not successful marketing tools. The key, as you all know, we've been over this before, the key to successful marketing is that you've got to be able to enter the conversation taking place in the head of your prospects. And you must be able to address the number one question on your prospect's mind at just the right time. And now it doesn't matter what business you're in, we're all in different businesses in this group, but the conversation that's taking place in every prospect's mind revolves around two major points. The first one is there's a problem they have and they don't want, right? I mean, nobody really wants problems, but there's one in particular that they really don't want. And then there's a result that they want, but they don't have. It's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't matter, again, what business you're in. This is always the conversation taking place inside of the head of your prospects. And you've got to be able to enter that conversation. So the way you enter that conversation is through what we call the conversion equation. There's 4 components to it. And we call them interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. So let me just break this down for you real quick. The interrupt is your headline. We've talked about this before. This is the pain point. This is the problem. You have to address it. Your headline, the first thing out of your mouth when you're talking, when we're putting together those elevator pitches, I mean, this needs to be there because this is how you get inside the head of your prospect, is by identifying with them and the problem that they don't want. But you don't leave it there. Second thing you have to do is come up with a subheadline, and we call the engage. So this is where you give them the assurance that they don't have to have this problem anymore, that there's a way out. Okay, how do they get out? What's the way out? Well, that's the third part of this equation, is the educate. Excuse me. So when we're talking about education, this is the information that you provide that demonstrates you're the person who can solve the problem. So you're going to just do a little bit of credibility building here. You're going to continue to use the language about the results, the benefits that your prospects can realize if they work with you. And then the fourth component is an offer. Now, it's a compelling call to action because you've got to give people reasons to act, but it has to be compelling. And you give it away for free if we're talking about money, but it's not really free. You give it away in exchange for very valuable information, and you'll see how valuable that is as we move through this presentation. And excuse me, I keep having to clear my throat. I guess I did a lot of talking today because after I left you guys, I actually had another coaching session right down the street with another office, and I've been doing a lot of talking today. So get a sip of water here. So anyway, because of the saturation, marketing, we're just saturated with marketing today, in 2018, and because of that, it takes multiple what we call touch points before your prospects are going to buy what you sell. Now, with standard marketing and advertising, which is basically what you see all over the place, what everybody's trying to do, where they're not taking these equations into consideration, where they're not crafting a compelling message, it takes anywhere from 20 to more than 100 touch points before a prospect is going to make their buying decision. And listen, repetition works, but that's how long you have to keep repeating things. McDonald's doesn't have conversion equation marketing, okay? But everybody knows who they are. And every time they get on the television and they run an ad, they're appealing to a particular market, unfortunately. Of the opinion McDonald's shouldn't be appealing to anybody, but they have a brand. And so their brand, and they're known, and they do amazing business because of that. Same thing with Microsoft, same thing with Tide laundry detergent. It doesn't matter. Repetition works, and if you've got the money and you're one of the big guys who can do it, it's going to work for you, but it doesn't work for us. We're small businesses. So we need the power of the conversion equation. And what that's going to do is reduce the touch points to somewhere between 5 and 12 points of contact, which puts us back in, nowadays, the 100 touch points, that's 2018 marketing. Marketing, let's say in the 70s or the 80s, was something more like 5 or 12 touch points because, hey, you weren't bombarded with marketing back then. Sure, we had advertising, we had it on television, and we had it on the radio, we had it in newspapers and magazines, and maybe a billboard, right? Radio. I mean, radio ads are still there, television ads are still there. They're still there, but we have so much else coming at us from so many different directions now. But if you can use this conversion equation, then you only need to get in touch with people. You need to touch them 5 to 12 times. So you may be wondering, 5 to 12 times, how do I do that? Well, most businesses don't. That's the thing. And I asked everybody in the room today, right? How many of you consistently follow up with prospects who don't buy from you on the first time? And there was dead silence. Nobody does it, or very, very rarely does anybody do it. I don't know. I'm not sure if Tracy was in the room at the time, but there are. We just tend not to do that. We let them come to our website. We let them see what we have to offer. We let them walk away. But if you have a plan in place where you stay in front of them, nobody's going to be able to touch you. Your competition won't. Now, the reason for this is because of what we call the buyer's journey. Now, if you're thinking about buying something, the first question that kind of comes up is, why should I buy this? What's in it for me? Why do I need this new car? Okay. And then you have your soon-to-be buyers who, when they're getting ready to buy, the objections always come up. Well, do I really need a new car? Can I stick with my old car? How many miles does it have? Can I make it last? It's going to be a lot of money, and I'm not sure I want to make the payments. So people will come up with reasons why they shouldn't buy the closer they get to actually purchasing. The thing about it is, on this journey, is that 99% of people are simply not going to buy, the first time they see what you have to offer. It was very different years ago. If we go back to the 70s again, if you were in the market to buy a car, you walked on a car lot. That's where you went to find out about cars. There was no other place to really do it. Maybe the Kelley Blue Books were around and you could go and purchase one, but that took some effort. And for the most part, people just would go to the car lot. And if there was a salesman there, his job was to sell you a car. Nowadays, the word salesperson is a misnomer when it comes to cars because nobody sells us a car anymore. We do all the research ourselves before we ever head out for the day and set foot on any car lot. And so we already know the make and the model that we want, basically, right? We don't need to be testing things out. We want to test them out to make sure they work, but we know what we're going for. And if there is something, we have a problem with the car after we've test driven it, or we'll just walk away and go on to the next dealership. The power nowadays is not in the hands of the business owners or the salespeople. It's in the hands of the consumer, and that's exactly how it should be. Okay, and we're all consumers, so we don't want to be sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to. We want to be able to make informed decisions about where we're going to go to get the services that we need. And that means we want information. Unfortunately, most websites don't bother to provide information. Here's Look at my typical website. This guy's a financial planner. And I mean, look at this page. He's got phone numbers. He's got a little form so you could submit that so he can call you or request an appointment. And it's call now, call, get your free consultation. I mean, why would I want to? Just looking at this page, there's nothing this guy has put here that's compelling enough to make me want to pick up the phone and call him. And besides, I don't want to pick up the phone and call anybody unless I really want to call them. So I certainly don't want to call a stranger. Nobody wants to call a stranger these days. That's just how it is. You know that as well as I do. You don't pick up the phone and call strangers. Why would you? This website is absolutely worthless, with the exception of the fact that he has resources, right? He's got some tabs up here, some links on planning and retirement investment services. He's got an education center. So there is a point where this site becomes useful, but cold traffic should never go there or here. Like, what is it about this page that makes you want to call these people? Why would you want to go, if your back is hurting and you need some help, why these people? What have they demonstrated here to make you feel like this is where you should go? Even more so, what are they demonstrating here that makes you actually want to pick up the phone and call them? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. But this is what our websites all look like, right? Again, with this buyer's journey, and you know this is true because you are a consumer. How often do you go to a website, see something there right away, click on it, and buy? And I don't care what the price is. It could be $10, it could be 10,000. How often do you do that? You don't. None of us do. Well, 1% of us do, supposedly. But that's a very rare. You can't really build a business with them. So we're going to take a look at this advertising formula here. We're going to use this guy, Dr. John Smith, who's a child psychologist, and look at this website of his, remarkableparenting.com. That's his website, and here's his headline, Parenting Advice and Resources from Dr. John Smith. Blah, 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 blah. It's not very interesting, is it? I mean, look, he says he's a specialist, but he specializes in 9 things. You know, everything from emotionally disturbed children to peer pressure to self-esteem issues and depression. You know what? He probably does. But if I'm coming to this website, I'm coming to this website for a reason, okay? And I came here probably through a Facebook ad, which we'll talk about. Clicked on it, brought me to this site. But if I'm here at this site, look, I got one problem. I know my teenager could have tons of problems. I've had a couple of teenagers. I know how it goes. But if I'm looking for a solution to a problem, I really just need one of these. So, speaking of teenagers, I'd like to show you these guys. These are my kids, James and Matthew, from left to right. Matthew's the taller guy there. And back in 2009, my family, the 3 of us anyhow, we were a health disaster, basically. And their father, my ex-husband, had recently had a nearly fatal heart attack. I weighed 250 pounds. My blood pressure was out of control. I was pre-diabetic. I had a lot of issues. I was running a school. I was overly stressed. I never worked out, ate as poorly as I could. So one afternoon, it's summertime, and the kids are swimming, and Matthew here gets an earache. And so, of course, he goes to the doctor, and the doctor runs a few little tests and says, it looks like he's got some blood in his urine, and he's got high blood pressure. We're going to send him on for further testing to the hospital. And got my ears kind of perked up, high blood pressure. He's 14 years old. So the hospital calls me to set up the appointment and make sure everything's okay. And they tell me that the tests that they're going to run, and they tell me that I've not met my deductible, so it's going to be $1,500 out of my pocket. And they tell me that after they do all of this, probably going to put my son on a course of medication that he may be on for the rest of his life. And kind of that record scratching sound where everything just sort of stops. I mean, that's really what happened in my head. And I told the nurse, I said, you know what, I'm going to cancel this appointment. I'm going to find another way. And she offered to break the payment up, into monthly installments. And I said, well, that's not really the issue. I don't want my son to be on medication. I'm going to figure something else out. And she was pretty much appalled because she didn't think there was anything else to figure out. But when I got to my computer, when I got back home, I pulled up Google. And do you think I typed in there, solutions to health problems? Or I'm in really bad shape, I need help? very vague things like that. No, of course I didn't. I typed into that search engine, reverse high blood pressure. I wanted to know if there was a way to reverse high blood pressure. And that was the only thing on my mind. I wasn't thinking about any other health problem we had. The fact that I was about ready to have a heart attack or that I had diabetes or any of those things. I was not concerned with it. I just wanted to reverse my son's high blood pressure. So when I Googled that page, as we call it, came up promoting this book, Dr. Joel Fuhrman's Eat to Live. And it's a revolutionary book. If you've not heard of it, this book is all about the benefits of plant-based eating and nutrient-dense eating and how it can literally solve almost every health concern under the sun. So this book, because it is a book, it's not just a website, seriously goes into detail. And I devoured the book, not to make a pun about it, but I did, because I was so concerned about my son. And that was the only thing that mattered to me. I wanted to reverse the high blood pressure. So I read it, and then I went to my son and I said, listen, kiddo, I'm canceling this appointment. And he said, why? And I said, because we're going to just change our lives. Now, Matthew was a kid who never met a burger or a slice of pizza he didn't love, but he gave me a hug because he did not want to see himself on medications for the rest of his life. So we immediately started eating this way. I mean, literally threw the pizza out, brought in the kale and the legumes and the fresh fruits, and that was how we ate. And these guys who were unfortunately not in the best of health themselves because their mother didn't know what to do, started eating this way, and within 1 week, Matthew's blood pressure was in the normal range. And so then I checked mine out, and so was mine. Could not believe it. I really couldn't believe it. And after just a couple of months, this is a picture here from August, so 9 years ago, August 2009, and then this picture is in October. And so really in that period of time, you can just see how much healthier they are. And it was just amazing what happened. This saved my life, changed my family's life. You know, I owe so much to Joel Fuhrman, but if I hadn't found him because he wasn't marketing to one particular problem, I might never have discovered all of this. He is all things to all people, but when you're marketing, you can only be something specific to a particular niche. Okay, I need to drive that point home. You can't be all things to all people when you're marketing because it's too overwhelming. It just doesn't work. So we're back to our child psychologist, and here's how he can change his page, right? Instead of that, you know, parenting resources from Dr. John Smith, how about he gets inside the prospect's head, right, and deals with one problem? We're going to go with those emotionally disturbed kids. That's the only issue we're going to deal with on this particular website. And he asks, are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, and belligerent attitude of your child? It's not poetry, but does that question not get right into the head of the prospect who has a child who's threatening her? Right? Now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. Okay, what do I want? Peace and quiet in my home. You just telling me I can discover the secrets. I can instantly restore peace and quiet. I can control my child, which that's a bit of an overstatement. I don't know anybody who controls their child. But when you're feeling so out of control, the notion of having some kind of control in the situation is very appealing. And so the language matters, right? The messaging matters. That's why we've got to put it together in a way that resonates for the folks we're trying to reach. Now, so that's your interrupt up here. This is your engage. The educate part here is now this video. We've revamped the video, and instead of saying what he said on his first website, which was, you know, welcome to Remarkable Parenting. I'm Dr. Smith, and I have tons of information and thousands of articles, and you may well have all those things, but if my kid is threatening me, I don't want to read thousands of articles. I just want a solution to my one problem. And so, basically, he's got a script where he says, as a parent, are you struggling to gain control of your child's attitude and emotions? Well, why, yes, I am. Is your child yelling and screaming at you, often displaying a belligerent and sometimes threatening tone that no matter what you do or try, you just can't seem to get under control? Yes, that's exactly what's happening. And my name is Dr. John Smith, establishing some credibility here. And I help parents like you every day learn the techniques that will solve these frustrating and destructive behavioral patterns once and for all. In fact, let me prove it to you. prove it to you. That's a pretty interesting claim. Enter your first name and email in the box to the right, and I'll send you a series of 60-second techniques that will immediately restore peace and quiet in your home. Does that not sound a little more interesting than a free consultation? Call now to schedule a complimentary 30-minute session with Dr. Smith. That does not sound like it's going to solve my problem quickly, but this other thing, this offer that you Dr. Smith in your script, we'll circle here at the bottom, enter your first name and email in the box to the right. I'll send you a series of 60-second techniques that will immediately restore peace and quiet in your home. Well, that's what I want. I want some information. I want some instant results. And if he demonstrates that to me, what are the odds I'm going to be his client? So this is how you get the offer. You put that information in there, and the offer gets sent to the prospect. You have that prospect's contact information, which we're going to need for the second part of this strategy. So we're gonna just suppose that Dr. Smith here is running a Facebook ad campaign, and he's averaging 300 leads a month from that campaign. Okay, it's a good campaign, and they are all coming to this particular website. So an average of 10% of people will call to ask about this consultation. All right, so again, it's not that nobody's going to, but very few people are, but say 30 people in this case if you have 300 leads. And they're just asking about the consultation, though, not actually consenting to it. 10% of those people are the ones who are going to consent. So like three out of the 30 will actually go in and have the consultation with him. Now, all three are going to become new patients because once you've gotten that far in the journey and you're actually sitting down with somebody, odds are you're going to, nothing's going to sway your decision at that point. Probably nothing will change your mind. But this represents a typical conversion rate for today. 1% of all leads generated from whatever source you get them from become clients. And that is a really long slog, folks. 1%. Now here's his new website. So we're going to say that the Facebook ad is just the same as it was before. We're not changing anything, 300 leads a month. And I asked the group how many people they thought would opt in for this offer, because this is a very different looking page, very different offer. Most of the folks in the group thought it'd be 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60% of people who come to this site would opt in for the offer. And I have to say, I believe that's true. But we're going to be very conservative here, okay, just for these purposes, and say 20%. All right, so we're going to double our numbers, but probably it's going to be a lot higher than this. And then again, we're going to stick with the 10% consenting to the consultation, even though that number is probably going to be higher too, because again, these people have seen that the doctor's demonstrating, he has proof that he knows his stuff. He gave them something that was valuable and something that worked. So again, when these 6 folks come in and they sit down, odds are they're all going to be new patients, so we'll give them all to him. Let's say the average sale value is $600 a month for therapy. Sounds about right. So that's an $1,800 per month increase and a $21,600 annual increase just from swapping out that painful homepage and putting in an effective squeeze page. And again, remember, he has 8 other specialties. If he wanted to run 8 other campaigns and drive them to 8 other squeeze pages, the whole point, folks, remember, is you got to get in the shoes of your prospect. They don't care about a doctor who can specialize in 7 or 8 different areas. They care, are you the one who can solve my problem, the one I have right now? That's all that matters. So $21,600, likely a lot more, considering the fact that a lot more people are going to opt in, a lot more people are going to convert, and hey, he could do this with 8 other specialties. So here's just a couple of examples of some squeeze pages that I've done. This is for Tick Warriors in Chatham County, and Jennifer did a nice job here. Here's her offer. It's 10 questions you must ask your pest control company, and she's got a headline here. Do you know if your pest control company's efforts to keep your family safe from ticks and mosquitoes might actually kill your pets, harm your children, and destroy your wildlife? I mean, that's a pretty dark statement, but boy, that gets inside the heads of people who are actually worried about that. And her big benefit is that she uses all green supplies. She does not use chemicals or anything that will jeopardize the environment pets, children, or anyone. So she's got a very specific market, people who care about that, right? So she wants to collect their information. She says, don't let a technician on your property until you've asked these questions. Enter your email address below and get access to your free checklist. Okay, I found a way to go back. So that information, the point is to collect somebody's information and give them something valuable. They get to see a video there. And then I'm developing one for Rockin' Women in Business here. So are you overwhelmed by all the lead generation advice you are bombarded with daily that generates little to no revenue for your business? And then the engaged and the overwhelmed forever. Watch this eye-opening video to learn the 3 biggest lead generation mistakes small businesses make and how to immediately fix them all. And then down here, just a little bit of credibility, and there's a few other things below it. But you enter your email address, again, send me the video, okay? You need to get that email address. Remember, in this buyer's journey, only 1% of folks are going to buy from you the first time. So we need to stay in touch with these people, and that's why we get their contact information. Now, a drip campaign is something, the reason why it's important is you've got to remember more than 80% of all sales are going to occur between that 5th and 12th point of contact, right? Between the business and the prospect. 80% between 5 and 12, you have to touch them. And so what a drip campaign is, it automatically delivers a form of communication to customers or prospects on a predetermined and scheduled basis. And you can set up any kind of drip campaign, but the best one has a compelling message, right? We're going to have compelling reasons for them to continue paying attention to you. So here's an idea, Sunroom Idea Guide. This particular company came up with this guide. It was not an email-based drip campaign. It actually turned out to be something that they put in the mail, snail mail. So when people request this information, they send them this lovely magazine, and this magazine has, for what a sunroom might look like. And we have 7 benefits of owning a sunroom. Numbers are important. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, the thing about the offer, even though you send this to folks, even though you're going to have an offer when you do your squeeze page, only about 20% of the people, again, who see it the first time are actually going to do anything with it. Okay? So they're going to put it aside. It may look great. They're happy to have it, but they're going to put it aside. They're not going to read it. But you know what? That should not matter to you. It already did its job. That offer's job was to get you their contact information. Okay? So if you've got their contact information, you're gold. Okay? What we're going to do, though, is we're going to take that guide and we're going to create a drip campaign from it. So since they're not reading those individual points in the guide, we're going to send them out over time. We're going to break things down. So the very first benefit of owning a sunroom, according to the little magazine that they send out, is, you have the perfect temperature all year round. You can enjoy the outdoors all year long. So we're going to just send them a postcard that emphasizes that one benefit. Okay, a few weeks down the road, we're going to send them this, and now we can start doing things like putting a phone number, because we have a warm lead now. It's not cold anymore. Once your lead is warm, you can encourage them to call you, and many of them. And we just do this with all the benefits, right? Benefit number 4, recharge. Okay, here we go. We're going to recharge our solar batteries. We're kind of, again, just sort of driving that point home with enough branding and it looks enough like the other cards that there's definitely some logic to it and consistency. Each one's a little bit different, right? Benefit number 5 is increase. Well, someday most of us are going to get around to selling our home, so this is a good thing to put on people's minds, right? Is this going to be a positive thing for this house when it comes time to put on? So we're going to go back to our child psychologist here and see how a drip campaign can work for him. We already saw that in 1 month, he was able to double his revenue. Okay, he doubled his revenue. He was able to convert a good number of leads. These are very conservative numbers, but if he's able to do this all year long, if he made that much extra money every month, I'm sure he'd be pretty happy with it. But why leave all those other people who need him out in the cold? He has to stay in front of them. They're not going to get in touch with him for some reason, but he needs to stay. Use his drip campaign to do it. That's why we call this a funnel. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to take our 300 leads and put them at the top of the funnel, and then as things kind of funnel through it, we'll see that 60 of those folks, as you'll recall, opted in for the free info offer, and 6 of them became clients. Okay, that means he doubled his revenue. But that also means that 54 qualified prospects did not engage his services yet. There's 54 people who just aren't paying any attention. So we got to stay in front. So those 54 prospects will go into a drip campaign. Okay, so we put them at the top of the funnel. Here you nurture that campaign. Let's say, as we are taking those secrets to controlling your child, that there's 12 of them. And we're just going to package them in emails. And the first email is going to have one particular strategy that works with the kid. And we're going to elaborate, and we're going to be in front of these people because this is what we need to do. So let's say 2 clients come out of that drip campaign. And on average, 2 clients come out of every drip campaign. Okay, 2 out of 54. It's really not that bad. And in fact, it's going to be more than he can handle, because this is what it's going to look like over the course of a year. How many people you're reaching out to who haven't done anything to move forward and make a purchase with you yet. Okay. So we're going to take our 3,600 prospects. All right. These are the folks who are, oh gosh, excuse me guys, I'm sorry, there's a big yawn. These are the folks who are coming to the page through the website ad, Facebook ad, all of them. They're the ones who are requesting the offer and taking action right away. They're also the ones who aren't acting right away, and they're in the funnel, but some of them are going to come on board. And once they do, at the end of the first year, the squeeze page generated an additional 72 clients in 12 months, which is remarkable. But with the drip campaign nurturing, that produced 156 new clients who would never have converted without it. So the way that it looks basically is, here's your first drip campaign goes out to 54 people because 6 people signed up, right? And then the next month we've got another campaign, and again 6 people signed up there, but 54 didn't. We keep them. Also the 52 from up here, remember 2 people joined out of there, so now we got the 52, and it goes like that all the way to the end of the year. By month 12 of year 1, the doctor is generating 30 new patients every month. And he can't even do that. That's crazy if he's a solo practitioner. He needs to either hire some other practitioners or put a cap on it and not continue to run that ad, because if he keeps running that ad, there's just no way for him to handle all of the business that will come. So that's a good problem to have, I think, is that you have to turn off that ad for a little while and just let the drip campaign work for a long time into the future. You can always turn the ad back on. So think about your business and how this might work for your business. Okay, everyone around the table kind of got a good sense that a properly designed, very clear squeeze page could be absolutely vital to their business and growing it the proper way. So there's a lot to do this, and you can certainly do it yourself. There's lots of paid programs out there that will help you create a squeeze page on your own. So ConvertTree and ClickFunnels and Lead Pages are some really good examples. There's a lot more of them out there. You do have to have some tech savvy, of course, and you have to be somewhat comfortable with graphic design, but a lot of it is still a little more copy and paste than it ever used to be. You don't have to worry about coding or anything. So if you feel like you could sort of step in there and maybe take charge of that, you could very easily get a squeeze page up and running through one of these services. And then what you need to do is connect it to an autoresponder, an email autoresponder, so you can follow up with your drip campaign. And so just a few that I use or have had experience with would be MailChimp and Aweber and GetResponse. So these are some things to look into. And you want to make sure that these things are integrated. And I've done it myself numerous times, and there's definitely a learning curve. It takes a long time to kind of get it going the first time or two, but then once you've done it a few times, it's pretty smooth sailing, and so I'm very comfortable doing them now, but it does take a little while to learn in the beginning. So if it takes too much time, if you have a little more money than you have time, or maybe you don't have enough of either, as some people said, but you know that this is something you need to do to get your business going. There's a couple, there's just 2 that I'll recommend. Again, you can certainly do your research and find some other possible providers out there, but Oak City Technology is a really great local social media and SEO optimizing website design development company right here in the Triangle. Drago, in fact, I'm hoping to get him to come in and talk to us about social media marketing next month. But you could certainly go to them and they can do this for you. There's a lot of things that they do that are interesting, such as the SEO optimization on the website. And they're very focused on that. They're very good at what they do. I am using them now. They can demonstrate, ROI and all kinds of things to you, which is wonderful. But they're pretty pricey. It's probably going to run you $3,000, maybe $4,000, to get something like this set up with these guys, just depending on what it is that you want. And it'll be worth it. It'll be as good as it can possibly be. But I understand that's a lot of money. So, since I told you I do know how to do this, this isn't my primary gig, but I do know how to do it. And I offered today in the group that if somebody wants to have a squeeze page done, I am happy to work with folks in the group because I want to see you all have a squeeze page and I want to see you have a good quality squeeze page. And so I'm willing to work with you, not for thousands of dollars, but for $997. What we'll do is kind of a soup to nuts squeeze page drip campaign package where I will help you craft the messaging. I will design the page for you. I'll get everything integrated the way it's supposed to be. I will design the offer with you. I'll do the design of it for you. So again, whether we're looking at a video or a document or ebook or something, we'll get that offer in place. We will get the drip campaign written and we'll integrate everything. And I am happy to do that. I just have to kind of limit it in terms of time. So I'm willing and I'm happy to do it for everybody in this group at some point, but it's really a first come first served thing right now. And over the course of the next month, I really couldn't handle more than 4 people. So I'm going to make 4 spots available. I've already got 2 claimed from the group today, possibly 3. So it doesn't leave a lot of room. But again, if you're the first one to jump in and say, yes, I would like to do this, please, or you're next in line, I'll be happy to do that for you and I'll provide some more information. So that's it. That's what you missed today if you weren't with us, and that's what you saw if you were. I apologize for a few of the little tech hiccups in the middle of this. I know that I was trying to go back some pages and I couldn't quite get there, so I'm not sure what I was saying or wasn't saying, and if it got a little confusing there in the middle, I apologize. But again, it was a great session today, and I am just thrilled to be with you all and to be working with you and seeing you grow. We got to get that social on the calendar soon, guys. Yeah. So anyhow, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you find it helpful. Reach out to me if you need help with anything, and we'll be talking again soon, guys. Take care.